So I saw how I wasn't thinking that, oh, I was just a front end person and I'm stuck to front end because that was my core right there. After I was done with
Mm,
the project, I had to move back to my core competency. But I had displayed my UI UX design skill, my Android application development skills that I had got.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Pulse of Tech podcast, where we have insightful conversations about building digital products, brands, and teams, as well as explore the challenges in the tech industry. Again, this is Lady Adeni. I'm your host, and I'm super excited that you're here listening to us speak. In today's episode, we have a very special guest joining us. His name is Tunde Ojediran, or as I now call him, Daddy Tunde. He's an amazing product engineer with a deep background in front end development, and he currently works with Andela. I've learned a lot from him over the years as well. But yeah, anyways, today we'll be going back to the basics of front end engineering and what Daddy Tunde would do if he was to start his journey over again. He has gained a lot of experience and knowledge during his 10-ish years in the industry, so stay tuned and you most definitely don't want to miss this one. So, Daddy Sunday, thanks so much for joining. How you doing?
Hi, Lady. Hello, people listening. I'm glad to be here. Um, Thanks for inviting me. It's a privilege, actually, to be on this podcast. Yeah, thank you
Nice,
very
nice.
much.
It's a
Yeah.
privilege to have you here, as always. So to get us going, as always, would you please share your journey so far and what has inspired you to pursue a career in front end development?
All right. So I think I was joking with someone not very long ago. I was saying that front end development chose me. I didn't choose front end development. So he just called onto me and I said, yeah, I am. Send me. Um, so what I meant by that is that I've had I've had a very interesting journey in the tech space, sort of. And what I mean summarily is that I've had to touch different aspects or different parts, right, of the field of software development, right. So to say, yeah. So how how did I get here? Uh, um,
Where
I
did you
don't know if I
start?
should go back. I don't know if I should go back to square one. All right. My interest in computing started back in primary school. Uh, I can the vivid memory I remember was when our computer teacher back then, I can't remember his name now. We had this desktop computer. I'm talking about the 90s here. And I can remember we played the game and Simba. There was this Simba 2D game. Um,
Yeah.
that we played. I mean, I didn't play it because it's just one desktop computer. There were other people, so I was watching. I mean, I think that's piqued my interest into like computing. Um, I mean, I was so interested. I was once the best computing student. Um, I left that school. That was primary school. My interest in computing basically made my dad to enroll me and my sister in I mean to learn all these tools. And back then, oh, let's get these people computer literate, learn how to use um learn all these MS tools back then, right?
Mm.
Microsoft Office tools and all that. And then I proceeded from there and decided after secondary school or last year in secondary school to study computer engineering. Um, Now, computer engineering was not the popular choice back then. That was as far back as 2007. I think the popular choice was elect. You will see a lot of people picking
Mm-hmm.
elect, medicine, mech engine, and others, right? But I decided to choose computer engineering. Elect was my second choice. I studied at Obafemi Awolowo University. So, I mean, that already sort of created a path for me to get to where I am today. I got into school and I had, um, I think, the university system was a different ball game. I had different experience. That there were a couple of things that influenced my journey to date. I I was part of a fellowship, right, a Christian fellowship where somebody in the fellowship, right, it was like a senior colleague in my department, so Department of Computer Science and Engineering in Obafemi Awolowo University. Yeah, he had built a portal, right? So, I mean, the guy is a whiskey basically. Taiwo Orilogbon by name. He had built a system to register students in the fellowship, right? Right. He
Mm.
had built it with HTML, CSS, PHP. And I mean, along the line, just to cut the long story short, I also got to, it was as though the thing was transferred to me, sort of, right? Because later on, I got to be the one managing the stuff. So that introduced me to HTML, CSS, PHP. Um, but it was tough actually. It was really tough. We didn't have all the things we have today. You can, as in what we have today, you could Google stuffs at the tip of your. You could even ask ChatGPT today.
Yeah.
But back then, I mean, if you didn't know anything and internet was not readily affordable, you have to go to the cyber cafe to use the internet. So it wasn't that really easy. So it was really a learning curve for me. There was IT year where I got to learn about content management systems. That was as far back as 2011. Learned about I built websites using Joomla. I don't know if you've ever heard of Joomla before.
Yeah, yeah, I did.
Yeah. So Joomla was even like was the rave thing back then before WordPress came on board
Before WordPress.
and took over. Yeah, for WordPress. So there was Joomla, there was Drupal, and then we had WordPress. So I got to learn about content management systems. In my final years in the university, I enrolled in a training, right, um, for mobile development, right, mobile applications development, where we were trained how to build apps, right, using Java, Android applications using Java, and then also learn how to use Java to build um, apps for feature phones. I don't, so there's this platform. I think it's an SDK, J2ME. I don't know if you've ever heard of it before. Java Micro
Mm.
Edition. So building apps for Android, um, building apps for Android platform. I learned that. I started my professional journey in 2015, and I started working for a startup. And if there's one thing you need to know about startups, you get to touch a lot of things, right? So I did
Mm-hmm.
design, UI UX design. I did Android applications development. I did backend, PHP. I did frontend also because I built a website, I built an app, um, I designed their logo and all that. That was that was and so all these experiences, I think I'm getting somewhere.
Yeah.
Um, I went for NYSC. I did my NYSC in Ogun State for OPIC. I don't know if out of OPIC, Ogun State Property and Investment Corporation.
Hmm. Yeah,
I
I
was
have.
opportuned to also be part of the team and we built their website. I was just recently checking their website. I could see some of the things I did still on the website.
Oh,
Uh,
really?
I'm like, wow, since 2016. Okay. So from there, I joined VGG, Venture Garden Groups for that's the full name. How did I join Venture Garden Group? A friend just like sent me a message. Oh, there's this opportunity. They would like to refer me. I joined, interviewed. I started working. It's been interesting to know that today I'm majorly a React person, right? I work with React, but I started in VGG as an Angular person, Angular JS. That's the old Angular.
Oh, really?
Um,
I didn't
yeah,
know that.
yeah. So the SSO platform, I was one like the first. Let me say I was one of the first people or the first person to build the SSO platform for I
For
mean the UI
VGG.
basically, right? For VGG using Angular JS. I think they must have revamped it by now, if so. Um, I started there, then React came on board, and I spent about 3 years, I think, in VGG before I moved on to Andela, where I am today as a full-fledged front-end developer. So what I'm just trying to say is that I've had a mixture of so many things across my journey. I've touched different things, and these things have come to they've come to they've impacted the way I work. They've impacted what I do today. So I was once an Android developer, and the things I did also still impact the things I do today as a front end application development, right? So when I say that front end chose me, it was just at the opportune time when I got this role that so as far back as 2017, I mean I was doing Android application development, I was doing UI design, I was doing front end, but now I am now specialized in front end. Who knows? Maybe next year something else might come on board and will call on me and I'll move on. But I mean, that's how the field of IT is. You you keep advancing, you keep improving, you keep adapting to the
Yeah.
current trend, and yeah. So that's how my journey has been. I enjoy things that have to do with visual stuff, right? Just to buttress. I mean, today because I remember an experience I had. Sorry, I'm already getting into
It's
some things
fine.
I'll
It's
probably say
fine.
later.
It's fine.
I remember something that actually took me away from back end. Um, I that was during when I was working at a startup in 2015, and they told me to build like API stuff, API services for a client, and I wasn't because it wasn't really something I enjoyed per se doing backend. I mean, that was when I discovered that no, this thing is not really my strongest suit, right? I tried building it. Of course, there are people on the team that I could have reached out to, but I was trying to do Longman Ranger. To cut the long story short, I bombed it, and I think the client, I mean, had to I mean, the client was also a startup, right? They're trying to start up, so they had to move to stop the contract they had with the team and all that. I mean, it taught me a lesson to always reach out to people. But what I knew from them was that Tunde, this back end thing, maybe you come back to revisit it later. Let's move away from it and focus on front end. So it was easy for me to work front end, to focus on things that were client facing, right?
Yeah.
So that was why it was easy for me to pick up Android. I could do something and I will see it that, oh, this is how it looks like. I could tweak it and see it, oh, this is how it looks like, this is how it should behave. Same thing for web, right? I'm doing something, I can see it on my browser, could tweak it, and I could see it. So I think that visual feedback, right, also strengthened my resolve to actually still stay, right, in this part, this front end developer part that I'm currently in. Yeah. So
Mm.
yeah, that's just to
Yeah.
summarize my journey. Yeah,
That's
so far.
awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. I mean, I I totally understand what you said. You know, working at a startup, and at some point you're doing UI UX. At another point you're doing mobile, back
Yeah,
end, front end, even up to like logos and graphic design. And that thing you said about the way startups and tech is in general. Sometimes, depending on the company you're working with, you might have to wear a lot of hats,
that's true.
move from role to role and try your hands at different things. A
Yeah.
question that popped into my mind is, I know, you like visual things, right? But
Hmm.
how exactly did you um what was that conviction for you that got you to finally decide on front end? I mean, there was the Android parts,
Hmm.
there was the back end parts, there was the UI parts, which is also
Hmm.
which is also visual, right? So
Yeah.
how did you get to that final decision that this is what you're going to specialize in?
Okay. So a good question. I think a couple of factors. So I think based on the opportunities that are presenting themselves, number one, I consider myself. I think I've had a lot of people, not to brag, say that I am a versatile person. And I mean, based on these things I've said also, I am someone who could decide apart from the backend stuff actually, but um, I'm a versatile person. If I need to do something, I mean, just to learn that skill and then get it done. So the opportunities that presented themselves as far back as 2017, right, made me one of the reasons why I had to say, oh, let me stay here, right, and like yeah, let me specialize in this. Let this be my core, right? That. I
Hmm.
also mentioned the experience, the backend experience I had,
Yeah.
right? I didn't have it. It wasn't a post traumatic development, but the reason why I said it's not is because today, where I currently work, I've had the opportunity to also try to do some backend things. Um, if you check my Instagram page, or most times I try to call myself a product engineer, and the reason why is
I
that
really love that, by the way.
yeah, a product engineer is someone who is able to your focus is not the tool, right? Your focus is not the technology. Your focus is in delivering an excellent product, right? That solves someone's problem. And what that means is that you are looking for the best tools to solve the problem, right? So you are not an addict, or no, not addict now. You are not a fanatic for a tool.
Yeah.
I try so much not to get in conversations where people combine React. Oh, so React is the best, Vue is the best. No, it's Next.js you should use. I mean, they all have their strengths and weaknesses and all that.
Hmm.
It's all about knowing, oh, which one should I use for this project? There might be one or two. You could just decide, maybe it's a team decision and all that. So
Yeah.
back to the question. So, I mean, I mentioned those two things that made the opportunity that presents itself, and I made myself available for that opportunity. Um, that's strong. Then I sort of have an an eye for. I mean, I had a graphics background. In a way, I would say that in a way I self taught myself graphics design, right? And so it was. I always liked to see the way things look. Basically, I like to see them. Like, there's no way I could imagine how a server API would look. The only way I could see an API implementation is probably use Postman or
Yeah.
any other tool. So that wasn't there wasn't so much motivation, right? I love the idea of having to to view something I am building, my creation, right? Or maybe it's a singular thing, something I'm doing myself. I'm working with people. I love the idea of being able to see that, right? See what like view what I am building, right? And even be able to show it to somebody that, oh, look at this. Give me feedback. What do you think about this? Oh, do it this way, do it that way, right? So I mean, that's really influenced, or one of the things that really influenced my decision to pursue this front end development thing, right?
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I think that's just the short answer to it. Um, and maybe because I was also surrounded by people who were doing things like that, and like I mean that's also something that contributed to it. But mostly, I think it was more of the opportunity presenting itself, because I had thinking about it the time I got the VGG job. I applied to another role where I was going to be an Android applications developer. So the funny thing is that GVG was offering me the same salary that this other person was offering me like as a 2017. And I had to make a decision. Do I go with Venture Garden Group or do I go with this Android applications development thing? Because think about it, both of them actually have you get to build things that are visual, right? Android apps, people get to use it, right? Um, if it's web app, people also get to use it. And as God will have it, and by consultations, because really I think in this life you need to consult people.
Yeah.
By consultations, I decided to go with Venture Garden Group, and I mean Venture Garden Group was also a stable company and all that. And I got in, and yeah, here we are today. Um, I just believe in what I believe also in is that whenever you find yourself as a person, right, you want to ensure that you are excellent in that lane, right? So if I mean going back to my back end conversation, I discovered that I wasn't good in that, right? And
Mm.
decided to leave that and do other things, right? So it is only when you try some things that you get to know that, oh, maybe this is not my strongest suit. I can come back to it, but let me focus on this. And then when you are doing it, you then see that I'm doing well in this team. Oh. Let me continue doing this thing. Okay, and you just keep
Hmm.
at it, right? So it's I mean there's no it's not rocket science, right? You yourself would know. I mean, you probably have a witness in your heart that okay, I think I am doing well in this. I'm getting good feedback in this thing I have done. Let me just keep pursuing at this, right? And sometimes it may be something like you did something with little effort, right? And then people like what you did compared to you do something with you struggle to do it, you get it done, right? And people are complaining about it. The logical thing for you is to go to something that you tried, you didn't give too much effort to it, and people are commending you for it. You get,
Facts,
yeah.
facts,
So
facts,
I mean,
facts, facts, facts,
that's just it.
facts. Man, there's a lot to unpack here, but I have about I have about 3 points to comment on. But let me just start with this product engineer part.
Yep.
It's I mean, when you say you like to think of yourself, as a product engineer, and it's not really about the tool or technology,
Yep.
I feel like that is such an amazing point of view, to just look at things from, right? Because a lot of
Yeah.
people tend to be like, I don't know if it's I don't know if what I should say should be like they want to have like a fellowship or a followership of this particular tool. Like, I live and die by React, I live and die by Vue, and then they have arguments on Twitter, and
React or nothing.
yeah, React or nothing, right? And it's so interesting. I was having a conversation with someone on ADP lists about
Mm-hmm.
about about 2 months ago, and it was basically asking me like how can he improve on his front end skills. Like he doesn't know where to, like he has started already, he knows a couple
Mm-hmm.
of things, like the regular roadmap now, like you learn HTML, learn CSS, learn
Yeah.
JavaScript. Like
Yeah.
he's at that point now where he's getting to React and he's not sure what to build, he's not sure where to go from here. And what I literally said to him was the way you're saying things needs to change a little bit, because you have to think of it from a product point of view. What am I building?
Right.
I'm
Right.
building I'm building this particular product, and then all you have to do is learn everything that is required to build that product.
Yeah.
If you have to design, go and learn
Mm-hmm.
design. If you have to do front end, learn front end. If you have to build APIs, learn back end, learn MySQL, MongoDB, something, right?
Yeah.
And then you build the product.
Mm-hmm.
And it was this exact same thing. Like, even though we never had a conversation, I was like, be thinking more in that product mindset, right? It's like
Mm-hmm.
you are not just think more as a product person, engineer, not just like a front end engineer, and then you're looking for somebody to design for you, or you're looking for somebody to give you APIs, even though there's like free API tools out there that you can
Mm-hmm.
use, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the guy, it seemed like I was saying something that he had never heard before. Like he's very active on social media. It's like, oh, nobody really talks about it this way, and
Mm-hmm.
it's it's such a straightforward concept that nobody really thinks about. And he's at that stage where he's young, he doesn't really have a full-time job yet, so he has the time to learn as much as possible,
As much as possible,
as much
yeah.
as possible, compared to when you're tied to a job where it's just front end is front end, and that's all the tasks they're giving you is front end, and you might not have a lot of time to experiment with other things. Like, that is the
Mm-hmm.
point where
Yeah.
you can experiment and really figure out what you can do, right? And another thing you
Mm-hmm.
said about opportunity presenting itself, and to be honest, sometimes our career is led by where the money is or where the excitement is.
That's a fact.
It's like pure facts. Like, literally, after when I was planning to leave VGG, at VGG there was like a lot of things that I was doing. I
Mm-hmm.
really I really did not want to do front end anymore. And before the bento opportunity came up, right, I wanted to get a job as like lead product designer somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
because I was starting to build a love for product design,
Mm-hmm.
because I was running an agency on the side where I would build products for people. I'll take them through the entire software development process. So I would design, do back end, create like the ERD, structure the database, and then now do
Right.
front end. So what I didn't realize was, like, what you spend the most of your time doing is what you are most likely the best at. So when I'm building a product, maybe design will take 2 weeks. Like, me building the back end, like maybe a simple API would probably take me like 1 week, because I already have the architecture in my head. But the
Mm-hmm.
front end would take me like 4 weeks, like a month. And if I need to refine something, it's just like I was every project I worked on, I was working more on the front end
The
part of
front end.
things. Yeah. So I didn't realize when I became so good at the front end part of things. So whenever I would go to an interview, like, I would always get to the final stage of like lead product designer roles, and I would never get the job. So I was wondering, like, what is going on? And then this um bento opportunity came up, like where I am now, as
Mm.
they're looking for like a senior front end engineer. And one of my guys that works there just reached out to me. I was like, oh yeah, this role is open, I'll come and interview. And I got to the interview and I killed it immediately. So I was just thinking, like, wait, so like I'm thinking of, you know like it was basically a decision of, okay, should I continue searching for lead product design
Product
roles?
designer roles.
Yeah, because I had the conversation with a lot of people, and people were telling me that, oh, you have to specialize, you have to do this, you have to do that. Up until that point, I was like a hardcore generalist, because I did everything, because I also had
Mm.
this product engineer mindset. Although it was not termed that way, like the way you just coined it, it made a lot of sense, right? I had that mindset, but everybody on the internet was saying specialize, specialize.
Specialize.
Yeah, specializing is where the money is. And then all of a sudden, I joined a company as lead front end. Sorry, not lead front end. I joined a company as senior front end.
Mm-hmm.
Within like 3 months, I became lead front end. And before a year ran out, I started leading the entire engineering team. And then I'm now back to like generalizing again, because I'm working with everybody. So sometimes it just makes a lot of sense when you think of things in that product engineer mindset. And really, like, our career,
Right.
sometimes we just decide, oh, I want to do this, whereas your money is in like an entirely different field. But
Hmm.
if you didn't give yourself the chance to experiment, you might not
You
cast
won't
your
know.
net as wide. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you
Yeah.
won't know.
Hmm.
You know.
Very, very interesting. This thing. I mean, thinking about it when we talk about generalization and being specializing. I think what I try to tell people is that what I try to imbibe is you can have. I think there's this principle they call the T-shaped principle, right? The T-shaped principle where you have the core, right? You have something that it's your core, but you are not just restricted to your core, right? You also try as much as possible to spread your wings. So what I mean is try to learn across the board, right? Because you never know where you find yourself tomorrow. You never know what the opportunity that will be presented before you. I remember in VGG, there was this product that I worked on. It was an Android application. I mean, VGG people got wind of the fact that I could build Android apps. I was trying to hide
You're finished.
it because I was trying to hide it. But then I remember that it was I've forgotten the name of this group, right? GSV, I think. Was it GSV? No, was it GSV? There was this government people that one of these SBUs that built government stuff. Uh,
Mm,
that Sheon Ladende was so you know Sheon Ladende now. Do you know Sheon Ladende? Do you remember him?
I know Sean. I know
Yeah.
Sean, but
So
I can't
I know
remember
it
the
was
exact. I can't remember the exact company it's that was
yeah.
building.
They used to I can't remember their name right now, but they build like social projects, right?
Yeah,
Um,
it's GSV. It should be.
it's JSV. So they had this product they wanted to build. They had gotten a contractor, right, to come and do it, an Android app. And I mean, okay, I think the guy was not delivering as much as possible. Then they got wind that we have somebody in this company that can do that. So they came to poach me from Avitech.
Everything.
Or they came to poach me. My line manager back there had to release me, my teammate. And what happened was, I mean, this is where the product mindset also comes in. I saw what they wanted to build. I saw the code. I saw the design. I saw the way it looked like, and I mean, I was trying to fit into that stuff, right? But it wasn't working. That was how during one Christmas break like that, I had gone home. I just decided that I'm going to sit down and redesign the stuff using Adobe XD. And so I just sat down, designed the pages, the way the flow, how I wanted it to work. And after designing it, I could see what I wanted to do, right? And then I did it, I implemented it. They liked my design. I wasn't employed as a product designer, but I designed it myself. I worked on it, I built the Android application. Uh, I mean, built the features because they wanted to add features. And but of course, because I worked on design, I had to like redesign the way the app looks generally.
Yeah.
So I had to make some changes, and they liked it. There were good recommendations. I dare say that that's one of the things that got me promoted at one point in time like that, you know. And so I saw how I wasn't thinking that, oh, I was just a front end person, right? And I'm stuck to front end. Of course, that was my core right there. After I was done with
Mm,
the project, I had to move back to my core competency. But I had displayed my UI UX design skills. I displayed my Android application development skills that I had got, all because I was thinking about I want to get this product, I want to finish this product, I want to give the best I can, right? So that whoever is using it, right, would enjoy what they are seeing or will be able to solve whatever problem they're trying to solve, right? So that is getting yourself out of the box of I am just this person, right? But thinking that, oh, irrespective of whether I have this core competency, there is only that I can also extend it because I mean every one of us has the ability to learn, right? We should not lie to ourselves. We all have if we can change our mindset, I mean, I think there's something called the growth mindset and the fixed mindset. I don't know if you've ever heard of that
Yeah,
principle before,
I have.
right? So many people have the fixed mindset and they are stuck on, oh, this is how I am, this is the way I am, I cannot change. But if you have the growth mindset, even if you develop that growth mindset, you'll see that you never know what kind of opportunities will be presented to you. You could even create opportunities for yourself by venturing into like secondary skill sets that may be attached to what you're doing, right? So I mean that's just to buttress the point of everyone, I mean, generally as human beings ourselves, right? But I guess maybe we are speaking to the tech right here.
Hmm.
Having that product mindset, right? It really will help you. You can even give a suggestion that would help the business developer in your team or the product owner in your team to see a different perspective that will help them in whatever targets or whatever business goals they are trying to achieve. Right? You ask intuitive questions, right? Questions that will make them go and think again that okay, this guy made sense. Maybe the way we are thinking about this BRD or this thing is not the way it should be. You get so that having that kind of mindset, right, is it's very important.
Yeah, facts, facts, facts. Makes sense, makes sense. Let me let's move to another question.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you could go back and restart your coding journey in front end specifically, is there anything you would do
Mm-hmm.
differently to
Yeah.
get better, to get good as fast as possible?
Interesting. Okay, so I'll try to keep this one short. What will I do better? I think I would. This one is a tough one. What would I do better if I was to go back? I think I will focus more on the rudiments. Let me just make it as a first point. So when I say rudiments, the rudiments of front-end development are, I think there are three: HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And why do I mention CSS? So we talk about, I mean, HTML, CSS. Talk about accessibility, right? I think most of us that started up, we, unless maybe you are somebody who has decided that I'm going to study this book from beginning to the end, or I'm going to take this course, or I'm going to read the whole of HTML API documentation or CSS documentation, right? Or maybe you got to learn about it from some people or someone who has gone ahead, right? Or I think in this part of the world, we don't really focus on accessibility, right?
We
When we build
don't,
our
we don't.
products.
Plain and simple, we don't.
Um, yeah. So there's this person that I'm taking his course. I mean, I signed up. I bought one of his courses. His name is Josh Comeo. I don't know if you've heard of that name before.
I don't
Josh
think so.
W. Comeo. Yeah, he's a very detailed person, right? Very detailed. His courses are, when you are eating a very sweet food, right? Something, your best meal, and you just want to keep taking that meal, right? That's how his courses are built. Very interactive, explains things detailed. Um, and it talks about, I mean, he has a CSS course. He has different courses basically. I think he currently created a course called Joys of React, which I'm planning to actually look at. Um, the reason why I'm mentioning him is that he talks a lot about accessibility, and I mean these things are actually very important because you want to build. If you're trying to build for everyone, you also want to consider people who who would not, let me use the word, naturally be able to use your product also, right? And these things are built into it. But I guess because maybe we all are trying to get to the finish line, right? We do not put it. So if I should go back in time, I'll focus on learning about accessibility. I'll focus on rudiments of HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Why did I say JavaScript? Right? I think when I started React, right, in as far back as 2017, 2018, I felt like, I mean, there was so much I could still have known about React, right? About JavaScript, I mean, before getting into React. But when you are part of a company, right, you have to
Mm.
also make sure that they want you to be up to speed, right? So that's the reality of it, right? The ideal thing would be get solid, right? Or get some level of let me say strength, JavaScript strength, right? Because that would really help when you try to make use of React. One thing I've noticed, I mean, I think I've tried to do and this is life actually. You can do what we call a iteration. So you are writing your React, you can also still go back. I mean, life is a continuous learning process.
Mm-hmm.
You can still go back and take courses on JavaScript, try to get the advanced JavaScript, like advanced JavaScript features and all that, and then re like apply what you have now learned into the React you're doing or whatever framework. Or I mean, a lot of frameworks out there today. So that's one of the things. Focus on the rudiments. What other thing? I think I would also leverage the power of community more. So what I say when I mean community is, um, so if I had questions, I think because I tend to be on the quiet side, sort of, yeah, in a way, I'm trying to change that. My wife is trying to change that for me. So
Love it.
um, I'll try to like keep this mind. Even if I have issues, I may not want to reach out to people and all that because I want to try and solve the problem. The problem with that is that um, you spend you spend 2 days trying to look at something. When if you are talk to someone, right, the person may have helped you across that border. Maybe you are fixed it in maybe in a couple of hours, right? So and that's one of the things I learned in the current role I work at, right, at Insurity. I have wonderful colleagues, right? We have an unwritten rule. If you have an issue, 1 hour, 2 hours, you are seeing that you're having issues, reach out to the next person who can help you. You have a huddle, a call, and you get the problem out, you get unblocked, right? And it's just a principle, right? Leverage the power of community, leverage the power of team of your team, right? Teamwork, right? There's no need to try to be the what's the word now? Try to be the master and what's I'm trying for the right word,
10x
right?
developer.
Yes, trying to be that. You need to leverage the power of community. You don't even know what I mean. The person you may be a senior developer, right? And you have a junior developer. Sometimes it takes someone seeing a different perspective. It's happened a couple of times to me. Just for someone to see a different perspective, and they may see something you are not seeing, and the problem is fixed. Right? It happens a lot of times. So leveraging the power of community, not thinking about the fact that you reach out to somebody and then the person would be looking down on you, right? A lot of people have this like I don't know, is it esteem or I don't want this person to look at me as I don't know anything.
Yeah.
But really, you need to put that aside, right? Because nobody is perfect, right? Even the person who is like the 10x that you consider that same person, everybody faces challenges at different point in time. So leveraging the power of communities is very important. I mean, those two things I would mention. I'll just keep it short at that. Yep.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense, to be honest. I mean, a lot of people just sort of gloss through it. They learn a bit of HTML, learn a bit of CSS, and then learn a bit of JavaScript and just move to something like React or Vue.
React.
And
Yeah.
yeah, before they even get their feet wet in React or Vue, they just go to Next.js or Nuxt.js,
Next.
immediately, and they
Like,
still
why are you rushing to?
yeah, I mean, they still find themselves struggling with like basic concepts. They don't know how arguments and functions work, coding standards, um, how to name your variables, and then they now go to TypeScript, and that's where everything scatters because TypeScript will humble you.
Ah,
I swear.
wow.
Even like even me personally, when I started learning
Mm.
TypeScript, that's when I realized that nah, I actually need to go back and relearn some things. I actually went back to relearn
Yeah.
some things for me
Mm-hmm.
to be very good at TypeScript, because JavaScript gives you a lot of leeway to do rubbish, and you will not know
Yeah.
it's rubbish
Yeah.
you're doing until you have bugs, you know. So yeah,
Yeah.
that makes a lot of sense, right? The fundamentals, I think, a lot of people should always go back to be honest. Some people don't
Mm-hmm.
even learn CSS; they just go straight to Tailwind, and
Oh
they
no.
they use Tailwind to learn. And
Ah,
yeah, it's
that's
so,
that's not a good idea. It's not
yeah,
at
yes,
all.
yeah. Sometimes it can become a mess. So I
Mm-hmm.
mean, for me personally, I started learning HTML and CSS in 2015, and I purposefully did not learn any CSS library because I was having so much fun with CSS and SCSS that I didn't learn any CSS library until I joined VGG in 2018. So I was straight up writing pure CSS, and I think it made
Your
me,
CSS.
yeah, I think it made me really good because I had the time, because I wasn't really working in like professional settings. Like I worked in like a startup in 2017, but I
Mm-hmm.
was basically just editing and maintaining products that they've already
Mm.
built, and the other ones were WordPress projects, right? So VGG was like the the major first software development um, company that I joined
Mm.
after that my internship in 2015. So I don't know if I would change that, because I feel like there was a, there were a lot of CSS libraries back then. There was Foundations, Bootstraps,
Yeah.
Semantic
There's a lot of
UI.
them.
Yeah,
Ah, I remember semantic UI.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was Semantic UI I learned first before I even dabbled in Bootstrap at all. Because I was like,
Mm.
everybody's using Bootstrap. This thing looks the same. Let me start learning something else.
Look for
So
something that looks
that
different.
looks different. So I went Semantic UI. But yeah, this accessibility thing is it's a trap that I also fell into. There was a point where I built like a mental health therapy product where you can speak
Mm-hmm.
to, if you're looking for help, you find people to chat with and have phone calls with. Um, so the primary color I used was very bright, but on my laptop it looks okay.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
On my laptop, the color looked fine, on my, and then after building it and after we launched, and I would open it on my phone and I'm like, this color, it looks it looks kind of unreadable on my phone, and I didn't know what was going on. And I started looking at other people's laptops and I realized that the green color I used
Mm-hmm.
was very bright. Like it was not accessible at all. It was not
Mm.
readable. But my laptop had like a matte coating.
Mm.
So it automatically darkens colors. And I had no idea up until that point. So a lot of people don't pay attention to like this color accessibility things. But I think now there's more um evidence for people to have more accessible colors. Another issue I found in this accessibility was whenever I created form fields, sometimes the font size would be like lower than 16 pixels. So maybe a text field would be like
Mm-hmm.
12 pixels, for example. It looked small, but to me, at some point, it looks cool, right? But when I opened it on mobile phones,
Mm.
if you click on the form field, the phone instinctively just zooms
Zooms
it
in.
up. Yeah, just zooms in and scatters the entire UI. And I'm like, what is going on? So there's a lot of things that we don't really consider when
Mm.
building all these things. And sometimes senior developers or senior designers are making some decisions that a lot of people don't understand or they don't seem to want to question. They're just like, oh, why are you doing it this way? It can be cooler, or it can be this, can be that,
Yeah.
you know. So yeah, accessibility
Mhm.
definitely is something we need to do better. We need to do better at. Um, let's go to rapid fire questions.
Okay.
All right. Well, where do I start with this one? Are you a tea or a coffee person?
Hmm. I think I'm more of a tea person. Um, I'm more of a tea person, and the reason why I moved away from coffee is because I think what people know coffee as, right? I mean, people take coffee not to make them sleep, right?
Mhm.
Most cases, but the reverse is the case for me. I will sleep. I'm gonna sleep. Coffee doesn't keep me awake. So, and I think I tend to have like a high level of dehydration when I take coffee. So,
Oh, okay.
tea, I take tea. I take tea. Tea's first choice for me.
Okay, okay. That's cool. Are you a morning or a night person?
Okay, due to the nature of my job right now, that's a very tough one to answer because my work shifts are between 2 p.m. and 10 p.m. So what that means is that I tend to stay up late more
Mm.
and sleep later and wake up like maybe like 9 a.m., 10 a.m. I mean, things have changed right now because of the newest member of my family. So so that's always scattered but I would say largely I get most of my energy when I wake up in the morning. I have a lot of energy, and the things I do first, right? I mean, whenever you see more energy, you want to do the most important things
Yeah,
first,
yeah.
right? Yeah. So I get most of my energy at night. Um, I'm tired. I just
Okay.
want to probably binge a movie or sleep.
So you're more of a morning person that has been forced to
Yeah,
become a night person.
something like that.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, so it will be more personal now. iPhone or
Okay.
Android?
Okay. Tough love, tough love, tough love. I switched to an iPhone all because of love. Just imagine. So 2021 was it 2021 that I switched to an iPhone? Yeah, it was 2021. I've been in a diehard Android fan, right? Up till then. But so far, I think all my devices now are Apple devices.
Oh my
I've been won
god.
over. I'm
Oh
so
my
sorry.
god.
I
I
think you are an Android
refuse.
person.
I
You're
refuse
an
to let
Android person,
I refuse
right?
to let
Really?
this thing happen to me. And I'm just getting it on record now. I refuse to let this happen to me. Oh my, like I think you're the third
Oh.
person that I've seen that has made the switch like after getting married or because of a relationship or something, and then they switch to iPhone. I'm like, what is going on? I thought I thought we were together.
A word is enough for the wise, lady. A word is enough for the wise. Hmm?
Nah, I refuse. With this one, I'm going to have coconut head. I refuse to let this happen to me.
All
Oh,
right. Oh.
oh my god. Okay, let's just go back because time has gone a little bit.
Yeah.
So, mm, let me see. One final question. What advice would you give to aspiring front end developers or the front end developers that are just starting out and they are looking for ways to grow?
Okay. Good question. For aspiring front-end developers and even software developers, I think it's very important to make sure if you have chosen that, oh, you want to be a front-end developer, right? It's good that you have a plan, right? There's this common adage that says, "He who fails to plan, right,
Plans to
plans to
fail.
fail." Yeah. So it is very, you are very fortunate. I mean, if you are today, you are starting out and you say you want to be a front developer, you are fortunate today because there is a lot, you have a lot of resources. I think the problem you would have is choosing which one of the resources, right, to make use of, right? Because there are a lot of them, whether it is free, whether it is paid. Tomorrow you see a new resource, right? So I'll say first and foremost, have a plan, and you don't necessarily have to do so much work to devise a plan, right? Because there are some ready-made plans you find online. Take
Mm,
for instance, there's this popular site called I think the website is roadmap.sh. I don't know if you ever heard of roadmap.sh before.
I
So
have not.
roadmap.sh, yeah, they have like a roadmap for different tech fields, right? Um, they have for front end development, they have for back end development, they have, if you want to be a cybersecurity expert, you will find it there, right? And these roadmaps are curated by, it's open source basically. People who are they have been in the field, right? So you are going to be standing on the shoulders of people who have gone ahead, right? Very important. So look for, I mean, I would advise anybody to probably can check it out, roadmap.sh. Um, if it is you want to be a designer, you find it there. Product manager, data analyst, you find it there. But I mean, specify for front end, you get the roadmap. You need to, I mean, you don't have to, I would say, you don't have to religiously follow such roadmaps, right? Because you may feel like you it's wasting your time and you might get tired along the line. But um, on that roadmap, they've even helped you to the point where you can see the ones that are recommended, the ones that they say is optional. Oh, you can take this at a later time. This is not necessary now, right? But you can follow the roadmap, the recommended ones. I mean, the first thing you'll see here is learning about how the web works, right? You know, many of us may have started without knowing how the web works, not knowing what HTTP means,
Mm,
um, knowing about domain name, hosting, and all that. These things are very important because these are the things that allow us to even view the websites we are viewing, right? So those things, understanding those things, because I think most of them are theoretical, right? HTML, CSS, JavaScript. So there's a roadmap. If you visit that site, I think that's one of the things I recommend for anybody who's an aspiring front-end developer, right? What happens is that when you click on all of them, you will even see more like suggested links to go and learn or read up on, right? Articles and videos, and then you could
yes.
decide to go through those courses, right? The most important thing, or one other thing I would say for someone who is an aspiring developer, it is very important for you to that you build stuffs, right? Build stuffs. There is no gain for you if you are just learning and you're not building. You're not bringing what you're learning to life, right? You have to practice, right? Practice makes perfect, they say, right? Or someone will say that practice makes progress, right? So it is only with practice that you can actually progress, right? When you build things, right, the things you build by reason of building, they become ingrained in you, right? I'm speaking because I'm sort of like a testament to that, right? The many things I have used, right, and by reason of building, I understood how to use them better. A very big example is Redux. Theoretical understanding of Redux for me was something, but when I started to use it, I began to understand how, why, right, what to do. Right, I understood it better. right? So practice, right? You have to build things with what you have learned, right? We talked earlier on about having a product mindset. Very important, right? You can think about, if you're looking for what to build, think about possible, like simple solutions around you, right? And do not even think whether someone has built it before, right? Because I think ideas are a dime a dozen today in today's world.
Mm.
If you take one idea, 10,000 people have thought about it.
Yeah.
So you think about something and try to solve that thing by building it, right? Build it and own it, like, oh, I built this thing. Then you can ask for feedback. I think leading me to the next point, you want to surround yourself with, I mentioned this earlier on about leveraging the power of community, right? You want to surround yourself. There are a lot of communities, both virtual communities and I mean online communities and also physical communities, right? You want to be part of communities that you can ask questions. Do not be afraid to ask questions. Very important as a beginner. Do not be afraid to ask questions. You can jump on, I mean, there are a lot of boards online. I mean, there's some of them that are nasty actually, but um, yeah, it's up to Reddit. That's all. That's the
I knew it.
it's up there. So, but they are nice boards. Do not be afraid to ask questions, right? If some places are nasty, go to the next one, and like be non-apologetic about asking questions, about trying to find solutions. Do not give up. Right? This is not a time for you to give up, right? Leverage the power of community, have a plan, work with that plan, right? It's very important. If you can participate in events, I mean, that, I mean, not to advocate for meetups, basically, because I think meetups are just one out of what then happens is that when you're part of a meetup, you can form or meet one or two people that you guys can. I think more it's more about why you go to a meetup. Oh, I go there, I go to network with people, I find someone who is in like mind with me. Two of us can go after out of that meetup, right? And study together or learn together or build stuff together. That's one of the most profitable goals or productive goals of going to a meetup. A lot of people just go maybe, oh, to just take pictures, to say I was there. But I mean, your goal should be trying to network with the right people and do something
Yeah.
great out of that meetup.
Yeah.
You get. Um, yeah. What else do I want to say as for an aspiring person? Right. Rudiments. We already mentioned rudiments. Very important. You don't need to jump the bandwagon. Like you don't need to jump the wagon. Right. Learn your rudiments. Nobody's saying you have to be a JavaScript expert. You're not spend 10 years learning JavaScript. That's not it. Once you know you are comfortable, right? You've built stuff. When I say comfortable, you have built some things, right? Using JavaScript, you've learned some of the theoretical stuff. Then you can then progress to the next one. If you decide that you want to pick a framework, just go ahead, pick it, and do the due diligence, learn it, and be good at it, and build things with it, right? Then there's another principle I always tell people, right? I think that will be the final thing. As you are learning, right, and you are building, try to also find a way to teach others about what you've learned and you've done. Say, for instance, I built, let me give an example, a calculator application. I just learned JavaScript and I was saying, oh, it would be nice to build this calculator that calculates um, how to reverse time. And I built it. And right, I learned HTML JavaScript, I built it. The next thing I would do or advise you to do, oh, write a blog about it, right? What happens is that when you write a blog about it, for instance, there's somebody out there who will read your blog and learn something from it, right? In that way, you are teaching somebody, right? I mean, that's one way of teaching others, right? Teaching could also be maybe volunteering to speak at events, right? Teaching could also be getting one or two people who are probably learning with you. You've learned probably learned a concept in JavaScript, and then you say, okay, let me explain this thing to you, right? And then you go ahead and teach them. What then happens is that as you teach, right, it's as though you are reteaching yourself, right? So it's more like a double-edged sword. You are teaching others, and you're also teaching yourself, right? So that's just like everything I would like to mention. I mean, to advise anyone who is trying to get into the field of front-end development, I mean, and any other IT or tech professional you have there. Yeah.
Okay. I think I think this is very profound and concise at the same time. And it will be useful for anyone that's really looking to improve because to be honest, just with the amount of people I speak to, not a lot of people really know the way to move forward. You know, they just
Mm.
know, let me learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript, then React. You know, there isn't a lot in between, and there's not a lot of practical advice to go around. So I think this was amazing. All right,
Oh God.
where can people reach out to
Okay.
you if if they want to ask more
Ah.
questions?
All right. First and foremost, you can find me on LinkedIn, right? If you search for Daniel Tunde Ojediran, you would find me on LinkedIn. I am also on, I mean, to say Instagram as Tunde Ojediran. Um, on Twitter, or let me say on X, formerly known as Twitter, as people used to write it now. Uh, I am Daniel Tunde Oje. Yeah. So for Twitter, I'm not very active on Twitter. Actually, Twitter is a, I don't want to say this is a podcast, so I will try to respect. Don't want to say anything.
It's fine. It's fine. We all know.
But yeah,
We all understand.
yeah, I won't say anything. But yeah. So once in a while, I just get into Twitter, and within a short while, I'm out of Twitter again. But I mean, if you reach to me on LinkedIn, and you can also reach out to me on ADP, I'm also on ADP list. Um, I mean, if you search for my name, Daniel, I think it's Daniel Tunde Ojediran or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm also on
I'll put
ADP list by
everything.
Daniel Tunde Ojediran.
I'll put all the links in the
Yeah.
podcast description, so people will be able
Okay.
to find
That
it.
would be great. That would be great.
Okay.
That would be
Okay, thank you so much. Let me put my own shameless plug. So
great.
yeah, this podcast is powered by Dula Studio. So Dula Studio is a strategic partner for rapid growing companies in need of product guidance and scalable design systems. So check us out at www.dula.studio. And
Mm.
if you want to share feedback or submit future episode ideas, you can connect with us at um, what's our social media handle again? Completely forgotten. The Pulse of Tech Pod. Yeah, that's social media handle on all social media platforms. The Pulse of Tech Pod. Yeah, that's it. And if you want to say hi to me personally, you can hit me up on Instagram, Twitter, or LinkedIn. At on LinkedIn, it's Lady Adeniyi. On Instagram and Twitter, it's just Walide. And yeah, Sunday, thank you again for your time. This has been amazing.
Thank you.
This episode has
Had
come to an end.
fun.
Yeah, it was.
I
It
had
was
fun.
fun. It was fun. It was fun.
Maybe I should go start a podcast on how to be a dad.
You should.
Raising
You should.
raising
You really should.
raising a child.
Oh my god, you really should, man. Because I hear it's not easy. Let me
Oh,
not say
be
it's not easy because I haven't experienced it
it's not.
personally.
It's a different ball game. As in today alone, hmm, I don't know. I have to wake up. I mean, kudos to my wife because I think if I'm complaining, I try
Yeah,
not to complain because I know what she's going through. So I would hold on to whatever I have because I know that she has gone through more than that.
yeah.
Right.
Way more,
So
way more.
yeah, it's not been easy. We keep looking for different hacks to find a way to get her to sleep. Um, I think we've learned a couple from our grandmas or from our mothers. So we're
Yeah.
trying to apply it once in a while. Yeah, it's a very fulfilling journey, I have to say, right? A very very exciting one. But I mean, even the stress, right? So just have to. It's part of life.
Ah, man, it's not easy, man. You guys are trying. I'm not looking forward to it, but we'll see. We'll see. All right, now, thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you, lady. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Daddy Sunday.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm getting used to that. I'm getting used to
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's why I used to save your number now.
that.
Let me stop the recording.